Okay, so the goal here is to be able to factorize expressions, but before we can do that, we need to get comfortable with just factors, and that's what this video is going to be about and what this lesson is going to be about. So firstly, what are factors? Well, the good news is you already know what factors are. You covered this in primary school, right? You know, the teacher would write down a number on the board. Let's say it's 15. And the teacher would say to you, okay, list all the factors. So that's all the numbers that multiply to equal 15. So for example, 3 times 5 equals 15. So 3 and 5 are factors. And there's one other pair of factors, and that'll be 1 times 15. The factors of 15 is 3, 5, 1, and 15. Let's look at another one. Let's say we had, for example, the number 12. Okay, what are the factors of 12? Well, there's 2 and 6. There's 3 and 4. And there's 1 and 12. Now, sometimes people ask, do I need to write them in order from smallest to largest? And, you know, if I was in year 5, my year 5 teacher would be definitely saying, yes, you have to. But truthfully, if the question just says list the factors, it does not say anything about writing them in ascending or descending order. As long as you answer the question as it's stated, these would both be perfectly fine. So these are what factors are for known numbers, right? But of course, we're in the middle of an algebra topic. Everything we're doing is with numbers that are currently unknown. So let's look at how we do what we covered in primary school, which is, hey, listing factors. How do we do it if we don't actually know the value of the number? Well, let's look at this term here. Let's say we had 5a. Okay, so we don't know what this number is because we don't know what a is. A is some number whose value we don't know. 5a means we have 5 lots of this number. And again, we are unable to calculate what that is. All right, but we can still list the factors, and that's what today's really all about. So what are the factors of 5a? Okay, so here's our first type of question you're going to see on the worksheet. Okay, so we've got to think, what are the numbers that multiply to equal 5a? Well, in this case, 5 and a, right? The reason for it is 5 times a equals 5a. So 5 and a are both factors. There's one other pair of factors that we can easily write down, and that would be 1 and 5a. And again, the reason for that is 1 times 5a is equal to 5a as well, right? So they're the factors of 5a. Let's look at another one. Let's say, for example, and I'll get rid of this because I'm going to do a bit more testing with our next one as well. Let's say we've got the number, let's go 7x. And we want to write down the factors of 7x. Well, now we've got to think, what are all the different numbers that multiply to equal 7x? And you'd be right in thinking 7 and x, they're factors, or x and 7, right? Order doesn't matter. So the reason for that is 7 times x is equal to 7x, right? So they're both factors. And of course, the other factors would be the number 1 and 7x, because let me show over here, 1 times 7x is 7x. So they're the numbers that multiply to equal 7x. There was 4 factors on this particular one. Now, not all terms will have 4 factors. If we look back up at 12, we can see, hey, you know, this one actually ended up having 6 factors. And, you know, we can sometimes have questions that have a whole stack of factors. Let's have a look at a harder one now. And this is probably about as hard as the work. We'll do two more. I want to do this one as well because you'll see these on the worksheet. I want to make sure you've seen them beforehand. Let's say we've got this algebraic term. It is xy. Okay? So again, xy is some number x times some number y. We don't know either of the numbers. They're both unknown to us. So when you multiply these two numbers, yes, you get a new number. It's unknown to us. We're in algebra, so we expect that. What are the factors of x, y? Okay, so two numbers that multiply to equal x, y. Well, we would have x and y. They multiply to equal x, y. And of course, 1 and xy are the other two factors. All right, last question we're going to cover today. And this one can be a little bit trickier, but, still fun. Okay, so let's say we have this expression here. It is, let's go 10. Let's pick a random unknown letter. 10 lots of k. I have no idea what k is. Okay, so we've got this term here, 10k. We want to write down the factors of 10k. Well, 10 and k are both factors. 1 and 10k are both factors, but there's also other factors. You could have, for example, like 10 could be broken up with 2 and 5, right? So you could have 2k times 5. They're both factors. Or you could have had 5k times 2. They're also factors. So they can get a little bit more complicated, and it is possible, as you see here, to have terms that have lots of factors. Like 10k isn't that particularly complicated as a term, but you can see it already sort of blew out into having, in this case, 8 different factors. All right, anyway, we're going to leave this video here. Have a go at the worksheet where just look at the different terms provided, and you're going to be asked to just list the factors of each. Most of them will be pretty simple, but I will have a couple of these harder ones here. And again, if you don't get all the factors, as long as you get as many as you can find, that's what's really important here. And this is going to help us a lot with our factorizing in the next lesson. All right, thank you. Bye.